Hey everyone, it's Hayes, and in today's video we're doing another theory video because recently I've just got loads of ideas. But anyway, we're going to be talking about the Tokyo special, but when I say the special, obviously the special's already aired. I'm not going to be discussing theories for a special that's already aired because I know what happens. But we are going to be talking about theories for the spin-off show that is going to be coming for Stellar Force. It's meant to be coming, I believe, in 2027 next year. As far as I'm aware, I don't think they've been more exact than that. I don't think we know what quarter it should be coming out in. I hope it comes out. Even though it's been confirmed, I'm always sceptical. Like, I'm pretty sure Jeremy confirmed the sequel film, but we know literally nothing. I think the last thing we got was of a guy wearing the black cat Miraculous. And that was a while ago now. So, I want it to come out, don't get me wrong, I love the movie, but I was just like, I don't feel like it's going to come out. But anyway, I'm sure it will one day. But for now, we're going to talk about some theories about what the Stellar Force spin-off could explore, and also talk about these people and see what they're going to be doing. So the modeller and his three cronies who I don't know the names of. So my first theory is that I definitely think they're going to have an Origins episode. As we find out in the Tokyo special, the Stellar Force team is already a team. They've already been formed. They've already got from somewhere, I don't know where, the Stellar Force matrix fragments thingies. I don't know. I don't really know what they're supposed to be. But anyway, they've already formed as a team, they already have these things, so I would really love for them to do an Origins episode, and honestly I do think this is a plausible theory because in season 1, chronologically yes, Origins happens at the start of the show, however in terms of the production order, the episode order, doesn't happen until like right at the end of season 1. So I don't think it's that far-fetched to theorise that there could be an Origins episode, and I would love to see how it happened, Joe. Who found these fragments in the first place? Who decided to distribute them instead of keeping them all to themselves? Things like that. I'm assuming it's probably Miki, but I don't actually know for certain. I don't know, no one said anything as far as I'm aware in the Tokyo special, so I'd love to see an Origins episode, which kind of leads me into the second part of this theory, is that even though I think we'll get an Origins episode that is set before the Tokyo special, after the events of the Tokyo special, because to me the Tokyo special is, they're still very much a new team, they've only been out once or twice or whatever, so quite new but not brand new. The rest of the show will continue set after the Tokyo special, and honestly, even though the events of the Tokyo special were about them working better together as a team, it was very much fixed on Kazuno and how he feels about his self-esteem, which was stopping them from getting the big Stellar Force robot thing. So I still definitely think in general they will struggle, and I think Miki is the leader, and whilst I like her, she does come across as a little bit abrasive, so I think that will be a struggle they go through. Which leads me on to the second theory, which I feel like the first season, at the very least, of Stellar Force will kind of be a bit like season 4 kind of structure, where you'll have some episodes like Chilin that whilst they have their own self-contained plot, they won't have much follow-through on other episodes, but then you'll also have episodes like Gang of Secrets or Risk, something like that, where they will have a lot of knock-on effect on the rest of the season. So I think it's going to have a mix of filler episodes and episodes that are more story-heavy. And also, leading on from that, so obviously in Miraculous, prior to kind of like season 4, we had our main 5 characters, which were Marinette, Adrian, Alia, Nino and Chloe, so it seems the central 5 characters in the Tokyo special are going to be Miki, Kazuno, Mayot, Yulu, is it Peely? I'm not sure how to pronounce their name. So I think those 5 are going to be like our central 5 characters, although I'm not particularly sure if any of them would be like an exact replica for Chloe, but we're going to come back to that. We'll come back to that, but I don't think any of them, I know we didn't see a great deal of them apart from Miki and Kazuno, and none of them seem to have a Chloe type personality. But put a pin in that, we're going to come back to it. But of course, as we saw, there is more than just those 5 in the Stellar Force team, so I definitely feel like, again, it's going to be similar structure to Miraculous. Whilst we're going to have Marinette, Adrian and Alia take centre stage, we'll get an episode for Milen, or for Ivan, or Rose, or whatever. I think it's going to be similar to that, or we'll find out more about the other Stellar Force heroes, which of whom I've still not learnt their names. But we will get an episode for them each season where they can explore more of who they are and what they like. Which leads me into the next theory, in that I think it's definitely possible we will see other characters being large parts in the new series who are just people at school, for example, and I think at that point we will have like a Chloe type character. I don't think she will get to use the Stellar Force Matrix, or he will, depending who they are. But I definitely feel like they need someone a bit more antagonistic. Like, Miki is quite abrasive, she's quite similar to Kagami, but more outspoken and louder. but she's not mean. So I think they'll need someone like that. So I definitely feel like there'll be other characters at school, you know, like Agley, Aurora, people like that who aren't on the team, but are just their friends. And also, I think it's a given as well, we will see all of them with their different families, their parents, siblings, whatever their family unit looks like for each of them. I'm assuming it'll be different. It's different in the mainline show in Paris, so I'll be seeing that. I think that's an absolute given. It's not really a theory, I'm like, it's probably going to happen. But then the next bit that I definitely think, again, is going to be a given, not so much a theory, is about Miki and Kazuno. As we found out in the Tokyo special, they both have feelings for each other, but Kazuno just seems too anxious and has bad self-esteem and doesn't want to tell Miki how he feels. And Miki is like, no, even though I know he likes me, I can't tell him, because victory must be earned, which, yes, I do think is silly, but okay, they've decided that, alright then. Ultimately, I do think they will get together, but I do feel like a lot of the show, when it's episodes about them and not an episode about a different member of the Stellar Force, is going to be like a will they, won't they get together. And I definitely think there isn't going to be a love square. Miki and Kazuno, as we see in the Tokyo special, they transform in front of each other. They know who's on this team. Like, the reason they go to Tokyo in the first place is because they're in this group chat discussing the team. Okay, they know. So they can't be a love square in this, because they already know the other person's identity. Would that bring them closer? I'd hope so, since they don't seem to be experiencing the same problems Adrian and Marinette are, which by that I mean Marinette knowing Adrian's dad was a supervillain and she's lying to him about it. So you don't seem to be having those kind of problems, but I definitely feel like their episodes will be focused on their relationship or lack of a romantic relationship between them. However, that being said, the first episode we were told, unless it's since been changed, and now tell him Miki. And I am assuming it's and now tell Kazuno how you feel, Miki. I'm assuming that's what it's alluding to. We don't have any more information on it, I believe, at the minute anyway. So I'm assuming it's about that. However, I do feel, after the way it was built up in the Tokyo special, that perhaps it's going to be too much for them to get together. You know, first episode in, I think it's going to be much more beneficial to have a couple of series, or at least one series, establishing everyone as characters before you get them together, you know what I mean? So I'd say a theory from me for the first episode, even though we have that title, I think it might end up a bit like a Dragon Titan sort of situation where they kind of organise to try and get Miki to tell Kazuno how it goes, but it ends up not going well at all and everything just kind of falls flat. But everything's nice by the end, they're just not dating. And then the final part of the video is I want to talk about the modeller. So he is the big bad, the equivalent of Hulk Daddy in the mainline Miraculous show. And it was a little bit confusing, I was going back and forth, I was like, right, okay, how's this working? So, what's going on is basically, the modeller, first of all, isn't human, like Gaby Baby was. He is an alien. Now, where he is from, I don't know. I would assume it's a made-up planet. How he got here, again, don't know, but he seems to have crash-landed in a volcano. Okay. Whatever. But it seems, even though he was an alien, he had no magical powers, because the Supreme says to him, I gave you, the modeller, the ability to get your hands on the stellar matrix fragments. So it seems this ability the modeller has to turn people into different things, like the taxi driver into a robot, was given to him from the Supreme. He couldn't do that before. So he gave him the ability to be able to do that, and that he is doing that so he can release the Supreme, which I'm assuming in order for the modeller to release the Supreme is that they need, I'm assuming, all of the Stellar Force Matrix. So parallel to the mainline Miraculous show, Gabriel needed the Ladybug and Catwoman Miraculous in order to make his wish. So it would seem the modeller needs all of the Stellar Force fragments, all 12 of them, I would assume. It's not been stated he only needs 2. He would need all of them in order to free the Supreme. However, as we saw with Gaby Baby in Recreation, he definitely didn't make the wish he had intended to. The whole show he was like, I'm going to bring my wife back to life. He didn't do that in the end. He sacrificed himself, I would assume, in exchange for Natalie. It also seemed he struck a deal with Tomoe, but I would assume, again, I'm not entirely sure because I don't actually know what she wanted, it would seem he didn't follow through on that end of the bargain. So even if the modeller, using these powers that the Supreme has given him, manages to get, I would assume, all 12 Stellar Force fragments, yeah, he could just do what he wants with it. I'm assuming the modeller, he says at one point in the special, he hates his planet, he just wants to go home. That's all the bloke wants. And the Supreme, we don't know much about him, but he doesn't sound like the greatest person alive. So, like, would you trust him? I'm not sure I would. Honestly, if I was the modeller, I would take the Stella Force fragments and just get myself home, you know? And again, like I was saying before with the episodes, I think some of them are going to be kind of fillery, where the villain isn't really all that significant, or sometimes it's going to have a lot of potential in the story and it's going to have a lot of importance. However, I also think we need to talk about these three people / aliens. I don't know, just kind of part of the theory, is basically, so their first scene we see them in, they are watching footage from a previous fight, and you see Kazuno and Miki arguing, and he's like, that's their weak point. But the other three don't recognise that as a weak point, and one of them says, well, if like you wanted us, you know, to be smart, you should have modelled us better brains. So part of me is possibly thinking that when the modeller got here, and he got these powers from the Supreme, is that he has turned possibly 3 humans into these 3 kaiju, I guess, and he is using them. So I would hope, if that's the case, the Stellar Force team can rescue them, perhaps one by one, and have them as allies maybe, or perhaps they were actually aliens who were travelling with the modeller, and for whatever reason, perhaps he was just practising, he decided to turn them into kaiju, although kaiju who don't seem to do much. But again, I would think it'd be cool if the Stellar Force team could perhaps free them, and even if they are aliens, have them as allies. I think that would be super, super interesting. So those are my theories based on the Tokyo special for the Tokyo Show spin-off. I hope we get it soon, and we get some more information and a proper date, but right now, I have absolutely zero idea, and I'm sorry I couldn't be more specific than that. I was just going off what I generally think might happen without loads of information, because it's hard when you don't know half of the characters' names yet, because they only like got 2 lines each in the special. But either way, I'm super, super excited. And yes, I know I missed out the ending with Adrian. I didn't want to include it in this video because it seems like it's going to be related to a whole new special, so it wouldn't be relevant to the Tokyo spin-off show, and I also have absolutely zero clue what's going on. So, as much as I'm excited about the ending, I don't know what it means. I can't wait, but I don't know. You know what I mean? Anyway, besties, I love to know what you all think of this. What do you all think is going to happen in the Tokyo spin-off show? I'm just excited. Not so much the theory, but I would love to see, like, more cultural references and things around Tokyo, like shrines and stuff. I think Japan is an absolutely beautiful country, so I'd love to go one day. It's like one of my dreams to be able to go to Japan. I would absolutely love it. But anyway, besties, I love to know what you think of all of this, and I will see you in the next one.